Good evening. I'm Kim Dildine with Central California Food Bank. Thank you for welcoming me and our team into your home this evening for our annual Empty Bowls fundraising event. We are so grateful that you have joined us online. This week, our team and committee delivered all the supplies you'll need to enjoy the evening, as well as a token of appreciation, a ceramic bowl. Your bowl is unique and was handcrafted by a local student artist or community member. It's our hope that it'll serve as a reminder that there are too many empty bowls in our community. Your financial support helps us fill these bowls and to ensure that no one has to go to bed hungry. I'd like to take this time to thank our event sponsors who made this evening possible.
A big thank you to our presenting partner, Union Bank.
Hello everyone, I'm Jim Lyons with Union Bank. Thank you so much for joining us. Undeniably, this year has been a challenging one. And while the pandemic has had devastating effects on our community, it has given us the opportunity to come together and make amazing things happen. Union Bank is a steadfast supporter of Central California Food Bank and their ability to provide food to those in need. Tonight, we are proud to step into the role as presenting partner. So please, relax, enjoy, and give while Union Bank proudly presents Empty Bowls, a virtual paint night. Thank you.
Thank you to our gold partners, the Zenith Insurance, Westlands Water District, and Golden One Credit Union. Our silver partners, Cargill Cares, Kaiser Permanente, Pleasant Mattress, RMC Constructors, and Valley Children's Healthcare. And thank you to our bronze partners, Judy Davis, Educational Employees Credit Union, Innovative Medical Center, Sandy and Tim Marsh, McCaffrey Home Mortgage,
Tachi Palace Casino Resort,
The Wine Group, Thermo King, and Yost and Webb Funeral Home. And a special thank you to Ritzko at Claymix for hosting Community Bowl Making Day. Thank you all so very much. The first half of 2020 was full of challenges, and they're definitely not over. No one expected the events that have taken place this year, but here we are in the middle of a global pandemic that has wreaked havoc on our world, our country, our state, and our neighbors. Children are at home, school lunches are suspended, hours cut, jobs lost. Despite the challenges, some truly amazing things have happened amidst the grief. With incredible donor support, we launched Groceries to Go, our online platform that allows up to 4,000 clients per week to order groceries to be picked up at Central California Food Bank, or if they're disabled or immunocompromised, have food delivered to their home. We are also providing school children boxes full of food for their families if hot meals are not available at their school site. And we've built unique partnerships to provide services in the evening to the working poor in rural communities. We rely on you and others just like you to provide the resources to feed our community. Thank you for your generosity and continued support. Along with new and innovative programming, we are proud to introduce you tonight to new leadership at the Food Bank. There may be some familiar faces.
I'm so thankful that our board of directors had a vision for the future of the food bank and what they wanted it to look like. And it is a progressive vision with two female leaders leading our way into the future. I think what they saw was two uniquely qualified individuals that had different strengths that they could leverage and bring to bear for the benefit of Central California Food Bank.
Natalie and I are uniquely qualified to take on the leadership of this organization. We have unique skill sets and personalities, and we really come to challenges and different ideas of the food bank from different ways. And so we feel like two's better.
I've been at the food bank for 12 years, and I have been in a variety of roles, both programmatic and operational roles. And Kim has been at the food bank for 8 years.
Central California Food Bank has a vision for a hunger-free Central California. And up to this point, I've been able to help connect donors and their philanthropic dollars to making a difference right here in our community.
Last year, we distributed roughly 40 million pounds of food. One of the really great things about the structure of the food bank is that we can't and we don't do this work alone. We have amazing agency partners that are in our community that help us distribute food.
I believe that there's so much work to be done in order for us to see a hunger-free Central California. And I think one of the things that both of us really value is relationships and building strong relationships and partnerships. And now there are two of us who are embracing that and taking that out into the community. If we are all committed collectively in making sure that more people have access to nutritious food, then we can do that much more. And so I think we've really embraced an abundance mindset instead of a scarcity mindset. How can we help each other make sure that no one in our community goes to bed hungry?
If we work together, if we work towards this common purpose and common goal, hunger won't be a problem in the Central Valley forever.
I feel so lucky and blessed that I get to wake up every single day and help our community. Not everyone is as passionate about their job as I am, and not everyone knows when they go to bed at night that they've given it their all and that they've truly helped their community.
Being able to realize that vision for our hunger-free Central Valley with an amazing co-CEO and colleague like Kim and our dedicated staff, it feels like a dream. I really couldn't ask for anything more. As previously mentioned, I'm Natalie Caples, co-CEO. During this transition, I've had some time to reflect on some of the amazing things Central California Food Bank has been able to accomplish over the last decade. And this impact is because of our incredible staff, volunteers, agency and community partners, and donors like you. My hope and commitment for the future is a renewed focus in continuing to nurture and develop these relationships with people like you, because you are integral to growing and sustaining our programs and services in Central California. Community matters, and relationships are the foundation to our success. Together, we will work to strengthen relationships with agency partners and other organizations outside of our network to close the meal gap and increase access to healthy and nutritious foods to the families that we have the honor and responsibility to serve. This pandemic, while devastating, has given us the opportunity to think innovatively and creatively. It's pushed us out of the confines of restricted thinking of how food banks have operated and helped us to evolve and adapt and ask the questions, how could we reimagine our service to have a larger impact on the families we serve? With this fresh approach, we aren't tied down to the outdated ideals of what we've done in the past, but how we started thinking about how we want to craft and shape programs for the future, all focused on meeting the changing needs of families. If we aren't focused on them and their needs, what are we doing? Hunger is a solvable problem, and we are going to tackle this problem by continuing to raise awareness and leverage our collective strength, dedication, ingenuity, compassion, and resolve to fight hunger. Food is connection and community and sustenance, and Central California Food Bank will continue to work on the front lines, but we need your help to ensure that no one is worried where their next meal is coming from. Giving our clients that sense of support and security helps them navigate the obstacles that life brings. Now, we'd like to share a very special story and help you put a face to hunger. It may not look the way that you expect. Please watch.
Before COVID, I had just started working for Clovis Unified. I was excited about my future and thought that 2020 was going to be the year that I bought my first home. When COVID started, I initially thought we didn't have anything to worry about. I was working for Clovis Unified, and my husband had a full-time job with benefits. The last day that Clovis Unified was open, I was working the front desk at Clovis East, and I started to see things unravel, and I started to get a little nervous. I received an email that evening saying that I was no longer employed and that I would not receive pay while I was not working. I thought at that time that my husband's job was secure as a plumber, but a week later, he received notification that he was no longer working either. So within a matter of 2 weeks, we both lost our full-time jobs. We had enough money in savings to buy food and to pay our bills for the time being. We weren't prepared for rationed amounts of food at stores. We're a large family, we have 7 kids. So a family of 9 only able to buy 1 loaf of bread doesn't get very far. We had a really hard time finding enough meat to feed our family dinner. We ended up buying Thanksgiving turkeys and hams to make dinners some nights. And it was something that we had never experienced before. We had never experienced not having enough food to feed our children. We had never experienced not knowing if we were going to be able to put dinner on the table the next night. We felt unsure of the future. We felt like we didn't know what had happened to our lives. But at the same time, we felt like we had to keep it all together for our kids because they were counting on us, and we didn't want them to know that we didn't know if we could feed them. We never in our wildest dreams imagined that we would be without food. We never imagined that a grocery store wouldn't have milk for our kids. It wasn't even possible for us to think that we wouldn't be able to buy milk for our kids. To someone else that finds themselves in this situation, it can happen at any time. And thank God there are places that you can go to find the things that you need. Central California Food Bank enabled us to put food on our table again. It put milk in our fridge. It put meat on the table, fresh vegetables and produce, things that we were having a hard time finding, we were able to find because of Central California Food Bank. I feel like we are back on our feet. We know we can feed our kids every day, but our future is still very uncertain. We definitely will not be buying a house this year. My husband is still not working. We don't know when he will be working, but we do know that because of Central California Food Bank, we won't have to worry about food for the rest of this year. To people who support the food bank, I would say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You never know whose table you're putting food on. I had no idea that my table was going to be empty. And I can't say thank you enough to the people who donated and helped us turn that around.
Wow. Carrie, thank you for sharing with us. There are so many families, individuals, seniors, and children who struggle with hunger on a daily basis. And now, in these unusual and difficult times, more people are finding themselves unexpectedly needing help, many for the very first time. But with your generous support, they're receiving the help they need. Thank you again for joining us tonight and for your very kind financial support. We are pleased to partner with you in the fight against hunger. Now, we invite you to channel your inner artist with our friend, James Graham, as he guides you in creating your own masterpiece. Thank you again.
Well, hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you. We are going to have a wonderful time. I hope you are as excited as I am. I'm here with my friends from the Central California Food Bank, and we are going to facilitate a virtual paint night. My name is James Graham, and I'm going to be your host today, and I'm looking forward to spending like the next hour and a half with you. Trust me, there'll be plenty of breaks, but we're going to have a great time. The first thing we're going to get into is your kit. So let me explain to you what you have going on there. Okay, so here we are at your table of equipment that you'll need for this paint night. First and foremost, you have a nice bottle of wine provided by the Central California Food Bank. This, my friends, will ensure that you're going to have a great time tonight. In the event that you get a little stressed out, they thought about that too. You have a stress ball. You give that a couple of squeezes and take a sip of your wine, and you're going to be good to go. The empty bowl, a handcrafted empty bowl from a local artist. Just as a symbolism, as a reminder of the hunger that we're trying to take care of here at the food bank. Our friends here are really concerned and passionate about addressing that need. On to our canvas, you have a 16 by 20 inch canvas. This is what you're going to be painting on today. It's a stretched canvas, pretty standard, and you'll have 4 paint brushes. You'll have a very fine paintbrush, one that's a little bit bigger than that one that's a little bit bigger than that one, and guess what? You'll have one that's a little bit bigger than all of those. 4 paint brushes is all you'll need to make lemonade out of lemons. We're going to have a great time with this. The other thing that you'll need is a pencil, because we're going to do some sketching just to get started, and your paints. It looks like you have about 6 paints here and a palette to pour your paint on. Whether or not you use your palette is completely up to you. You can pour your paint onto your palette and use it accordingly, or you can just dip right out the jar. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Let's get to it. Let's get over to the canvas and paint. Alrighty then. So we are ready to sketch. We have this pop art feel that we're going to complete today, and it starts off with a sketch. I'm liking this piece because it's simply a couple of ovals. So we're going to start off by sketching this first oval right here. Again, you want it to look like the top of this lemon, and as you're sketching, again, you want to keep an equal amount of distance on each side of your lemon. So we'll start right in here, and we'll just start drawing an oval, and we'll just come on around nice and light, and you just make that oval. It doesn't have to be perfect, and for me, it always helps when I do a half a circle first. So I'll start here, work my way up to the top, take a breath, and then stop here and work my way to the bottom. And that way you'll make your perfect oval. Again, we're just making the face of the lemon. The second circle that we're going to do is the second circle we're going to do is right inside of that. So we're going to, this line from the bottom to the top is going to be pretty much the same length. So let's just create that line right inside the top portion of your oval. Just like that. The back side of it is you're going to create a little bit of sag to it. So what you're going to do is just have it drop down. You're going to have it drop down just a bit, right down here. So now you have two circles. You have two distinct circles. Again, the line on the top is an equal distance, and we have a little bit of droop on this one here. The third line that we're going to do is what looks like a shadow because your light source is coming up from the top. So this one is just going to be like the shadow that's being cast from your second circle. So you'll start right at the top of your lemon, and you'll come on down, and your droop, the droop that you create here is going to be probably twice the distance of the first one. So you just double that distance, and you come on down, and then you bring it right back up to the point. So now you have three circles that have that little droop. You've created your first surface piece of your lemon. Now the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to start with the circle right in the center. It's an oval right in the center, so it looks kind of like a wagon wheel right in the middle, and then you start creating what look like pizza slices. You start from that circle that you created in the middle, and you just come down to that line. There's a pizza slice there. You come right next to it, you create a pizza slice there. And you go all the way around your lemon, creating this pizza slices. You come around, and don't worry about the pencil marks, folks. They'll all be covered up with paint when it's all done and said. But you have pizza slices. Wider at the top portion, coming down to the center here. Just like that. Pizza slices all the way around, or a wagon wheel. Either one works the same. But you're just creating those pizza slices. Nice and narrow as you get closer to the center of the circle here. But that's what you're looking for right there. It looks somewhat like a flower. Now you're going to come over, and we're going to start this lemon here. Same thing, you see the way that it's angled. I would start from the top here and do a half circle, and then come from this side and do another half circle. So we start up here and we come on down. Same thing here. Start here and come on down. Half circles work best for me. They're a lot easier to work with. Just a half circle. And if you notice, the nipple on the top comes off of your other lemon, so make sure that when you start your nipple, it comes off the side of that and then goes into your half circle. So we'll start right there at our other circle and create our nipple. So the next thing we're going to tackle is, you see that little open spot on both of the nipples. Let's go ahead and create a little circle right in there. And it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but you do want to create like an open space right there, top and bottom. And last but not least, we're going to come on this inner side, and we're going to do a straight line, and I'll show you how to come back, and we're going to make that line rigid later. So again, from the top, you're going to do a half circle, and you're going to come on down to the nipple, and then you're going to come over and do that same thing here. So let's go ahead and try that, folks. You're just going to come down, nice little half circle, boom, and here you go with this one. There it is. You bring it right back. So this is the basic image that you should have. You're going to have this basic layout. Now it's time to paint. You're going to grab your, not your smallest brush, but the next size up, and your black paint. And for me, I'm going to grab my bifocals there so I can see what I'm doing. How's that? All right, so what we're going to start with is just creating this outer line. You can, you have a choice. You can dip right out of your container, or you can use your palette. I like the container because it's just right here, right now. So let's go ahead and start with that. We're gonna start with our line, and you just go ahead and start that joker. Notice your outer line, you want it to be a little straighter, so you go ahead and just start getting that on there. And what I want you to understand is, we're eventually going to come back over this with yellow, so you don't want to go too terribly heavy with your black paint. So if you can see some canvas bleeding through, that is entirely okay, because if you have globs and globs of black paint on there, when you start putting your yellow on there, you're going to have some smudge issues. So this is kind of like a sketch in and of itself. You're going to come across with your black paint, and you're just creating that outer line, and you want to fill in all of that on the inside. And again, you just work your way around it. You've already created your sketch, so you're just going to come up there. You can touch the nipple there and bring it down, and there it is. You just fill it in there just like that. Come right across. You get your light layer going across. And again, the outer line to your lemon, you kind of want to keep as straight as you possibly can. It's interesting, one of my most common thoughts while I'm painting is the fact that people don't understand how hard it is to paint a straight line. It is very, very challenging. It can be very, very challenging, but you can do it. You can do it. You just go right ahead and just come along that edge with your medium brush, bring it on in there, and you get that painted just like that. It's not a problem. Have fun with it. Have fun with it. One of the things that I noticed when I started painting also is that my hand shakes a little bit, but it's projects like this that a shaky hand can really be work in your benefit, because you don't really want too many of the lines on here straight. There you go. So you're just creating that outer line, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to make that inside line rigid. So you get you a nice little light coat of black paint. Again, not worrying too much whether or not you see canvas bleeding through, and you're just working that sketch. You just come across and don't worry about it. Just make it nice and straight on the inside initially, nice and straight on the outside. Easy cheesy, just like that. Long strokes, just covering as much of that as you can. And again, you're not wanting to go too terribly heavy with it, just wanting to get a basic coat down where you can see it. Go, and you come back in here, and you're going around that little circle that you created, going around that little circle you created. One of the things that maybe I should have mentioned this earlier to you, but I'm a right-handed person, so I always work from the right side, from the left side of the canvas to the right. What you do in doing that is I'm not running the risk of running my hand over something I've already painted. I never start from this side and work this way. So I always work from left to right. So if you are right-handed, you're right on track. If you're left-handed, watch your smudge marks. Watch your smudge marks. So again, you can see it's really basic. We're not doing anything too super fancy here. We're just filling in the spaces. Right? Just like that. Now you can put that brush in the water and you grab your fine brush, your smallest brush, and you go ahead and dip that in your water. Tap it on your towel, and now we're going to start to create this jagged edge here going across the inner side of your lemon. And again, there's no rhyme or reason. You're just going to come across and you're just going to fill in and have that look any way you want to. Again, you just have fun with it. No pressure. Just think hills and valleys, hills and valleys. You just don't want that inner line to be straight. But there's no particular way you have to do it. You just kind of go with the flow of your brush. Have fun with it. One of the things that I love most about painting is there are no mistakes. There are no mistakes. You can always paint over it. You can always paint over it. Just layer it up. So again, you're just coming across that inner edge and you want it anything but straight. Just nice, and you just use that press, let it wiggle and dance around on your canvas. You can start out here, you can come way up, and then you can go way down, way up, way down. Again, the goal is just to have fun with it. I would stay away from a repeated pattern. Make every little one that you do just a little different from the one you did before. There you go. Just wiggle that brush. And you'll see you're starting to create that effect right there. All the way around. Now I'm working that little area that we left open just so it doesn't look so symmetric. You don't want it to look like a perfect circle. You just kind of go in there and squish your brush around. I'll tell you a little trick. There are times where you can press your brush hard on the canvas and it gives you a completely different imprint that when you go across it real lightly. So why don't you do that? You can fluctuate pressing the brush against the canvas and then going across it lightly, all giving it a different effect every time you do it. So what I'm doing now, I'm just working my way around this rim too. So you can see the jagged edge that I've created. I'm gonna do the same thing on this inner side. I'm just coming across and wiggling that brush, pressing it hard at times, letting it just glance across the top at other times. Just like that. Play with it, have fun with it, whatever your heart desires. There you go. All right, so I see there's some jagged edges over there too. I'm gonna come up to the top where that nipple is and start playing with that a little bit. Just creating, oh, there it goes. Yep. Creating that same effect. And we know that this shadow that's being cast off of your second lemon, you can actually start that now too. You just start right there and just bring it on around. Bring it on down. Just press that nice and hard. Drag that brush across that canvas and start creating your line there. Again, initially you'll start off straight and then You can make it look any way you want to after that. You're just getting the coat down. All right. And on this one here, you're just gonna, there we go. And it's kind of like a sketch. Now, if you've noticed, I've pulled up just short of where my shadow is. I want my peak to be right about there. I see that the sketch that I drew on my when I was sketching it out is a little further, but there's never too late to modify it. So I just pulled it back a little bit, and we'll see how that looks. And if we need to make it longer than that, we can do that later. Now I'm just filling that in. And when you have a larger space, you can feel free to pick up your larger brush. You can do that too. You can set your medium brush down because you have such a wide space in there, and dip that in your black paint, and you can cover more surface space at one time. Look at that, one big swoosh and it's done. Easy cheesy, just like that. Again, folks, have fun with it. Come across and you're working that shadow, the shadow that you casted. You're just working that out. Come down, you put mid-level pressure on your brush. You don't want to press too hard and you don't want to press too light. You want to press kind of medium and focus on the edge. When you press medium, you get a nice clean edge. That's what we're looking for there. So you've got your shadow casted, you got your second part of the orange. It's coming along pretty good. What do you think? I think I like it. Let's go ahead and clean our brushes off. We tap it in water, pull them out. I think I'm going to go back to my smallest brush and start working this area right in here. Right inside there. We're going to make that a little jagged, and then we're going to start with our dots. You see this lemon has plenty of dots on it, so we're going to get right on that. Let's do this here. Just again, so we don't have a perfect circle out there. We just smudge that paint, let that brush dance around on there, see what happens. And then we just start with some dots. Why don't we just start putting some sporadic dots in there? You load your brush up and just start putting dots everywhere, all in there, along the edge. And the one thing when you're starting to create dots, you'll notice that your smaller dots are closer to the rim and they get larger as they get further out. So the way you create a smaller dot is you don't press very hard. You just let your brush barely kiss the canvas. And if you want a larger dot, you push it a little harder and you'll get a larger dot. And you'll notice that your dots will have different shapes depending on what angle you're holding your brush. So if you're hitting your brush straight on, it's going to give you a circle, but you have different shapes that appear as you angle your brush different ways. So just play with that as you're putting these dots out there, and try to stay away from making perfect lines. Make your dots all over the place. Just have fun with them. Just poke them all over the place. No rhyme or reason. You're just putting dots all over the place. I was painting a picture similar to this the other day, and my grandson asked me, "Papa, did you count how many dots that you put on that painting?" Absolutely not, Jamesy. Absolutely not. Have fun with it. This is your creation. You make it look just like you want it to look. See, we're working our way around that lemon. Plenty of dots in no particular order. Some just way out there all by themselves, kind of like stars. some that you can barely see, some that are just more noticeable. Dots, 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 dots everywhere. I noticed that we have some dots up there in that area, so we're going to come up here and put some dots down there. Alright, so I'm feeling like this first one is getting pretty close to being done. I like it. I like it. I go back across, and again, you can always just kind of tighten up the lines as you see them. But yeah, we're doing pretty good. Looks like the first one is almost complete. Now, if you notice, the outer rim on your lemon isn't an actual line. Although we drew a line, it's not an actual line. So what you're going to do is you're going to dip into your black paint, and you might drag it a little bit, give it a few centimeters, and then give it a couple of dots, and then drag it, give it a couple of dots. You'll do that a couple of times, and then you're going to stop probably about midway. You're going to do the same thing down here. You're going to make your shadow come to a point, and you're going to come on around by just starting off maybe with a few dots, and then maybe we'll just drag it, put a few dots there, maybe a dot out here, and what do you say, we just put one out there for kicks. There we go. So you have your perimeter done. Now I think we're going to start with our pizza slices. And again, so we drew perfect pizza slices, but obviously these aren't. So you have your line as a reference. You can you start in the center, and you start your little loop, and you come on out, and you just make your line any old way you want to, using your line as a reference. A lot of times I'll come and I'll paint just inside the line just so I can fill the space, get that space filled up. And periodically you can leave a little opening, because that's where the yellow is going to bleed through. So feel free to just leave a circle or any type of shape here and there, and it's only going to add character to your slice of lemon. You come in and you paint the inner portion of your pizza slice, and then you're going to come back. Again, you're remembering you're not wanting to go too heavy, because after we go over it with yellow, we're going to come back and paint it black again to make it really solid. So you want not to go too heavy, because you might cause smudging. And there's nothing like a smudged lemon. So just play with your shapes. Again, the beauty of this is there's no right and there's no wrong. There's no way that it just has to be. You're just doing general shapes, and you just play with it as you go. Again, coming right inside the line, just to feel your pizza slice coming right inside the line. And then as you're filling it, you can create all kinds of little different spaces in there. Again, folks, the goal is to have fun with it. Now we're going to keep chipping away at these pizza slices, and right after the pizza slices, we're going to take a break. It's going to give you a chance to use the bathroom. You can pause me. You can come back to it, because once we finish all the black, we're going to come back and start laying the color down, and it's really going to get exciting after that. But for now, we're just working our little pizza slices. And again, you can have little arms coming off of there. You can have it going in all different types of directions. Just have fun with it. There's no wrong way to do a pizza slice. You just
create the edges and the boundaries and just make it work for you. Let the brush do all the work. Just drag it across, let it go where it goes. I find that it's easier to let the brush create the little open spaces than it is to create them on your own. If you notice, I just kind of turn my brush around and round. Let it dip from side to side, and it almost creates its own little openings as I'm filling it in. Looks like we have 5 more slices to go. 5 more slices to go. The ones up top are a little trickier. It looks like this, because of the light sources coming down from that side, you want to start probably halfway in. You don't have to do full slices. You just come down, and that's what's giving it that pop art look, because it's really broken and it's really challenged by the light source that's coming from the upper right hand side of the canvas. You just let that work itself out. So I've always loved to be creative. I had a friend ask me the other day, do you choose your art, James, or does your art choose you? And I thought that was a very, very good question. And I'd like to say that I think my art chooses me. I obviously have something to say about it, but there are just some things that just reach out and grab me. And I seem to be drawn to them, and I am like overwhelmed with just trying to create it in the way that I know how to create it. I think back to when I was in the 2nd grade. I was somewhat of a busybody in class, a social butterfly, and I would finish my work and ultimately get to disrupting the whole rest of the class, trying to talk to them. And so my teacher gave my parents a call and explained to her how I was being a disruption in class. And needless to say, that didn't go over too well. My parents had a very intense conversation with me, and I knew from that point on I had to have something to fill my time, and it just so happened to be art. I had some Charlie Brown comic books at the house, and I can remember ripping out pages of my Charlie Brown comic book and taking those to school from that point on. So when I finished my work, ultimately what I would do is I would just start tracing the Charlie Brown characters and Snoopy, and became very fond of it. And after a while, you can't help but to try to challenge yourself and draw it without tracing. And for me, that's kind of where the whole artistic end of what it is that I do now came about. It just, over the years, it just became something that I was able to do when I was in a meeting or waiting for something. I'd sit down and just start sketching and doodling and drawing pictures of my instructors. And I have a huge catalog and file of stuff that I've drawn over the years that I sometimes look back on and just shake my head. So yeah, and I think it's really interesting now because I think I've worked for the probation department here in Fresno for 20 years, and after that season was over, I found myself saying, okay, what am I going to do now? God, what's next? And I felt like I was being led to just lean into my strengths. And I had to figure out what that was. Like, I've always been a creative person. I learned how to cut hair, and I've always been somewhat artistically inclined. And I figured, okay, well, those are my strengths. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend my retirement years doing artwork. So I started a small business doing murals and paintings and chalk walls for folks, and I've had an amazing time with it. And every day seems to be like a learning experience. I'm starting to realize and really believe that we're all created to create in some capacity. Like, that's what we were designed to do. Some people do it a little differently. My way just happens to be through this type of artwork, through painting and cutting hair and doing chalk walls. But we all have ability, and I think that once we lean into that, we can have tons of fun and partner with friends to help different causes and support each other in ways that we may not have ever thought that we could support each other in, just by utilizing our creativity to have fun with it. So that's kind of where I'm at. I have a small business, and I like to create things. I like to listen to people's hearts and see exactly what it is. I have lots of people that come to me and want logos designed and tattoos designed, and so I just listen to their hearts and see what it is seems like they want, and I try to put that in picture form. I found myself here lately in this time of sheltering in place and all the different challenges that are going on with society today. I found myself trying to create things that make sense of it all. I think that's kind of what we do as artists. We try to make sense of what's going on with us on a day-to-day basis. So we are getting close to the end. We are coming up on our first little break, and we're just finishing our pizza slices again, letting the paintbrush go where it wants to go, having fun, sharing personal stories. So yeah, let's just keep going and knock this out here. One of the things I was thinking about in preparing for this event was, I had a friend ask me, what is one of my most memorable art pieces that I've created. And I don't know, I've been creating for a lot of years now in some capacity, but one of the ones that really jumps out at me is, we're all familiar with the death of Kobe Bryant. I decided I've only felt like I've been moved to do a commemorative series of paintings a couple of times in my life, but Kobe Bryant was one of those people, because he was just such a powerful person and influential person, and he affected so many people in different ways. So Kobe Bryant dies, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna do a series of Kobe Bryant paintings. So I did a Kobe Bryant painting, and there was this one, I had put this nice gloss on it, and I had this young lady contact me, and she goes, I have to have that painting for my husband. Do you still have it? And I was like, well, as a matter of fact, I do. I had a person that had committed to buying it, and it just fell through at the last minute. So lo and behold, I had this painting. So she says, okay, I'm going to come by tomorrow and we'll hammer out the details. So she comes over and she begins to tell me her story. She says that her husband is a huge Kobe Bryant fan. He's a huge sports fan, but he's definitely a Kobe Bryant fan, and has kind of followed Kobe Bryant's career since Kobe was in high school. And her husband had done a really good job of keeping keeping his composure as it relates to Kobe Bryant having passed away with his daughter. And she says, and I would wonder about that, but I didn't think too much of it. I was like, well, okay, I know that he's a huge fan, but my husband's not one to ever get emotional. And she says, but the other day I was walking down the hallway and I heard my husband in his office, and he was absolutely he had just fallen apart. He was crying like a baby. And she says, I looked into his office and realized that he had curled up on the floor, and he had been holding in all of those feelings and emotions with regard to Kobe Bryant's death, and being strong for everybody else. And they just came out in that particular moment. And she said, when I saw my husband in that state, I thought about that painting that you had done, because I had just seen it on your Instagram page that day. And I figured, I've got to get this painting for my husband. And she said, let me help you understand this. Like, I'm not a big art person, and I've never paid like a large sum of money for a piece of artwork. That's just not been my thing. But in this case, I was willing to pay whatever I needed to, because I felt like my husband needed that painting. And she was, number one, excited that it wasn't too terribly expensive, because I am not famous. I'm very affordable. So she came over and she bought the painting and she sent me some pictures of where he hung it up in his office. And those are the things right there that really keep me motivated and excited about creating, because I know that creativity in and of itself can just change a culture. It could change people's lives. I know for a fact that more times than not, I get really intimidated when I look at other artists online, because I know that I see the level of skill that they have. But when I partner with God and do what it is that I'm passionate about, I think that the artwork that I create can change the world. So that's what I'm trying to do. And as long as I'm connecting with good people, I think that's going to play out. And I think that's what's happening right here at the food bank. This is a great event. This is a great organization, and I think great things are going to come. So with that being said, I think it's time for our break. We have our outline done.
The next thing that we're gonna do is start laying down some color, and this piece is really gonna get exciting. But we can use this time to kind of let your black paint set, because again, we're gonna be laying some other colors on top of it. This will give you a chance to pour you a glass of wine, take a bio break, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Alrighty, so we're back. I hope you're refreshed. I hope that you're ready to watch this thing really take off. We're gonna start putting some color down, and what I want you to do is you grab your yellow, and the trick to doing, actually laying the color down, is I like the biggest brush because you cover more space easily. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna tap your brush in your water, and you're gonna squeeze most of that water off. You just want your brush kind of damp. And you get a little bit of your yellow, just a tad bit of your yellow, and you just start smudging that around. You just smudge that around. And you can do it one of two ways. You can actually push your brush on there and smudge it, or you can do the little crisscross pattern. That choice is yours. I tap the water. A lot of times I'll just tap my napkin and then tap the paint and just come across and just start filling it in with yellow. Glasses on, guy. Glasses. All right. Yeah, you just tap, tap, tap. And if you notice that some of your paint, your black paint is smudging, don't even worry about that. You just keep it moving. Start in the middle, come along your edges, and you can smudge, or you can do they call it the crosshatch method of painting. But I like to do a little bit of both. It kind of just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Sometimes I'll dip in the water. Again, you go from the water to your rag, because you don't want too much water on there, to your paint, and you just start smudging that around, and you go along the edges. You fill in all the spots that are white. And again, you don't want to worry about getting your yellow paint on your black, because again, we're going to come back over that later on and repaint it. So you just go right ahead, and we're gonna make our lemon lemony. You'll notice that I'll do a combination of effects. So far you've seen me do the crosshatch. I'm seeing that there are still some wet areas, so now I'm tapping the canvas, and what that does is that keeps you from actually dragging the wet black paint across the rest of your painting. So you can just tap it on there. You just put a little bit on the edge, and you just tap that yellow. Tap it on there. Rinse it off real good. Load your brush up again and just start tapping. Anywhere you see white, you want to make sure that you got plenty of yellow in there. Same thing, tap it here. Just tap, just tap. In the areas that I know that I can see that are super dry, I'm comfortable with doing some brush strokes. The areas that are questionable, I just tap. Just tap. And again, you're not too overly concerned about getting the yellow on your black, because you're going to come back over your black again, and it's really going to pop. It's really going to pop. So you'll get one layer of this yellow. Yes, indeed. Tapping, tapping, tapping all the way around.
tapping all the way around, and you're just filling all of those spaces. Everything that you see is white. Just tapping it, you're giving it some yellow. And it actually works sometimes when your paint bleeds a little bit and you have some of that black on there. Gives your lemon some personality. You have some darker spots in there. That's okay too. Guess all lemons weren't created equal. Just tap, 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 tap. Some of that fresh yellow. There you go. Creating that nice edge. Get all the corners. You got to especially watch these corners right here. You want to get all of those. Put some yellow in them. No canvas bleeding through. Come back over here now that this is dry. Up, clean off your brush. Clean off your brush. Make sure your brush is clean. That's important. I have to keep telling myself there's no mistakes in painting. There's no mistakes in painting. You ever been in the middle of creating something and you're like, ah! There are no mistakes in painting. Just remember that. It's creativity. Have fun with it. That's the goal. Anytime you see your brush picking up some of that black paint, immediately just rinse it off, clean it off, and then you give it a little tap, and you see it just takes it right off of your canvas. Takes it right off of there. All right. So we got some yellow. Any major swooshes, again, you just go over it a little heavier. Cover it up. You want to get it to where everything is yellows. Now it looks like a bunch of goulash, but you'd be surprised when you come back over this with the black and you hit the black again, this yellow is going to jump off of the canvas. For now, you just focus on filling in all the spaces. Look very closely. Anywhere in there that you see white spaces, go ahead and fill them in with yellow. So we're going to give this a moment to dry, and we're going to start thinking about the background. What color you want to do your background. You literally can do your background color any color you want to. I think, as you can obviously see, I've done one in green, I've done one in red. I think today we're going to try blue. And what I do is I simply mix the blue with a little bit of white. I get a base coat out. I get one layer. I wet my brush real good. And make sure that you clean it off real good. You want to dump any of that residue from the yellow. You tap it in there, you get it nice and moist. You put some blue on there and you just go to town. I suggest starting at the bottom because if you have too much water on it, it's obviously gonna drip. So you wanna do your drip test by starting at the bottom. So what I do is I just start smudging this around, and again, you want to come as close to the edge of these lemons as possible with that wet brush. You noticed I didn't put a lot of paint on there. And again, I'm just pushing that brush against the canvas, letting it shake and bake, and then I'll tap it again, just getting just a touch on there.
Again, you're just wanting to alleviate all the white spaces. So I come as close as I can to the lemon. The black, it really doesn't matter. You can overlap on that black. And I get that first layer. Tap in the water, tap on your towel, come up here in the corner and just start spreading that out everywhere. Spreading that out everywhere. You want to get it as close to the lemon as possible. Again, you come right up on that black and just come back up to the wetter part, bring it on back down. Smush, smush, smush. Tap some more. Take it all the way across. And again, because it's acrylic paint, like I said, if you happen to get too much paint or you get some paint on your yellow, again, you can always come back and cover it up. It's not a big deal. Our goal right now is to get one little base coat out so we have some paint on the canvas, and then we're going to come back and just add some white, and it's just going to cause a completely different effect. And actually, you don't have to wait to the end. If you want to mix it while it's wet, you can go ahead and open up your white cap. Open up your white cap. Start tapping it now. Tap some of the white. Just put it on your canvas in a couple of places and just start working it in there. Just start working it in there. You see the kind of a cloudy effect. Take it on across. You can leave some spots lighter. You can leave some spots darker. Tap it in your blue. Tap it in the water. Get it nice and wet. Load it on up. Load it on up. Come all over the place with it. Again, you come along that edge, all the way to the edge. No white spots. One of the things I always do too is I paint the edges of the canvas. To me, it just doesn't seem like it seems incomplete if I leave the sides of my canvas unpainted. I don't know. Maybe it's just a me thing, but I think it looks so much better when you hang this up on your wall and you have the whole top, the side, the bottom of your canvas painted as well. And you have plenty of paint, so heck, why not? Go ahead and cover those spaces. If you need to, you can stand up and get those edges and get some paint on those edges there so they don't feel left out. Again, tap the water, tap your rag, just start smudging it around again. You want to tap some white, start smudging it around. Got to be light-handed. Yeah, smudge, smudge, smudge. And the one thing that I found with painting is that you just don't give up on it. You just keep working it, and eventually what you're looking for is gonna come. You might smudge it, you might be tapping it, you may be doing the crosshatch effect. Just keep working it. And sooner or later, I guarantee you, what you're looking for is gonna appear right before your eyes. You'll see it. You'll see it and you'll be happy with it. Just keep working it. Adding white, add some blue. Dip it in your water. Keep your paintbrush nice and moist because you can just spread those colors out. Coming around the side. Again, you just get as close as you possibly can. There it is. There it is. Paint that side over there. Don't leave that side out. Get those sides painted. Tap some blue, add some dark to it. Yeah, just play with the different styles. This is one of those paintings where you don't know, you have an idea of what it's going to look like, but you really don't know exactly what it's going to look like until it's done. You just keep working it, keep playing with it. Bring it right up to those black lines. Some people like to leave it lighter, closer to the lemon. Some people like to get it darker. Just tap and go for it. Have fun with it. See what happens. Load it up with some more water. I know one of the things that I kind of look for when I'm doing backgrounds is I like for you not to be able to see any paintbrush strokes. No definite lines, just variations in the darkness of the color. That's one of the things I shoot for. Everybody's a little different, but I like if possible, to have no streak lines. Come across and you just, some places you feel like you want it darker, just add a dark spot. And different brushes will give you different effects. This brush right here will give you a different effect based on how you're holding it. You hold it straight down, you can get an effect like this. You kind of angle it. You can even do the tap effect and get more of a, you can do it to where you have clouds in the background. You just tap it. Sky's the limit. You can create whatever it is you want to create with that. Give it a little cloudy effect. You just tap a little bit of white on it and just start tapping it and see what happens. Just creates all kinds of effects. And if it's not something you like, you just tap it with some blue, create some darker spots. Just go all the way around it. Have fun with it. See what happens. It's kind of like an adventure in and of itself. So now I'm going around and I'm really looking for, I'm trying to identify any white spots that I see, any lines. Sometimes I just come back and tap, tap, tap. Add some blue in there. Let's come down here. I see some white spot in there. Let's go ahead and clear that up. Let's go ahead and get that all sealed up. Tap it with a little bit of white. I don't know. See what happens. See what happens. At the end of the day, it's your creation. It's your creation. It's for you to be proud of. So just have fun with it. Dip some water. Tap, tap. Let's go some more dark over here.
I really hope you guys are having as much fun as I am. I'm really enjoying this. This has been a fun piece. This has been a really fun piece to do. Challenging in a few different ways, but definitely fun. Because like I said, as you can look at the ones I have sitting here, every time you do it, it comes out completely different. There's some uniquenesses in each and every one of these. And that's what's most exciting to me. You never know what you're gonna come up with. But what I do know is every single time I've enjoyed doing it. Look, Mom, no hands, just no eyes. Just have fun with it, you guys. Have fun. What you think? You think it's about there? I think so. I think so. Now to really make this thing pop. All right, so you put your brushes back in your water. You close your whatever color you use for your background, and again, just adding a little white to any of the colors provided to you is going to provide a variation of these colors. You could even mix greens and yellows. You can mix blues and reds. You can come up with your own color if you're that daring. Go for it. Enjoy it. But for now, we're back to the white. We're gonna load up our brush with some water. I leave the brush nice and moist and give that black a stir because you want it nice and smooth. The little bit of water that comes off of your brush into this black paint is gonna give you just the liquid consistency that you want to solidify the painting. So again, we'll start up here with the nipple and we'll just come around the top, bringing it right back in. We're doing the same. We're just simply repeating the process that we did earlier. And this is literally your final coat. You want to make sure again that you load your brush up with water and you mix your black paint around. That's going to give you the consistency you want because you're just going right over the top of what you already painted. You're going right over the top, and that literally is going to make your painting pop. It's going to make it a lot easier for your lines, for you to get your lines nice and straight. Same principle. We're coming across. We're just dragging that. Oh, look at that line. The line it seems like it's so much easier to make it straight. And you're covering up all that yellow, all that blue. It's almost like it's overspray. You're just kind of fine lining it, bringing it on down. Again, you're just going over what you've already done. Start that same half circle principle. You're coming from the top, working your way around, coming down, back down to the nipple on your lemon. Yep, you just come around. There it is. That's good. Yep, just bringing it on down. Just like you did before. Just like you did before. It's the last and final process. The cool part about it is you already kind of have an outline there for you because you've done it earlier. So you just come back around. Again, you're just making sure your lines are nice and tight. Make sure your brush is nice and loaded up. You come back up here, around that corner, coming down into that lemon. There you go. Just like that. Bring it on out there. We're going to come back with our fine brush and create again those jagged lines on the inside. For now, you're just coming right back down. Right back down. Filling in all the spaces. Your black paint should be holding up pretty well. It looks like I have more than enough to finish this. Just keep dipping, and again, now you're really focusing on your lines, on the outer line, and then you get as close as you can to your inner line. And just like we did earlier, you come back with your fine brush. So you get your smallest brush, you load it up with water, give it a couple of twirls in here, just like we did earlier. You just come along that edge and create that uneven surface. You're just going over what you did earlier. Same principle. And if you don't get it exactly like you did it the first time, that's no big deal. That's no big deal. You can create a new line if you want to. Again, you're just making it uneven. Let that paintbrush dance around just like you did. Just like you did the first time around. But this time it's a little more exciting because now this is your final coat. This thing is really, really coming alive here. So James, what's your favorite color? I'm glad you asked that question. My favorite color is red. Just thought I'd share that with you while we were going over these lines here. My favorite color is red. What's your favorite color? Do you have a favorite color? And more importantly, would you have painted your lemons your favorite color? That's the $1,000,000 question. I don't know if I could have got away with red lemons. They would have looked more like nectarines. I don't know. Can you see how it's coming together? I think I really like this. I hope you like yours. I'd be very interested in you all sending pictures of your finished painting project and where you mounted it in your personal space. I would love to see that. I shipped a painting to Florida, and my client got his paintings today, and he FaceTimed my wife and I as he was opening his paintings. That was such an exciting time. I don't know what I like more, creating it or watching people's reactions once they get it. First of all, I must have packaged that doggone painting like it was going to Iraq. I think it was bulletproof, it was waterproof, and it may have been fireproof. I put so many layers of tape on that box trying to make sure that no damage would be done to it. It was funny just watching him wrestle with it, trying to figure out how to open it. But when he did, oh my goodness, he was so excited. It was so exciting to watch him get his painting that he had been waiting for and unpack that. That made it all worthwhile. All worthwhile. This may be that painting for you. I'd be curious to know what you're going to do with your painting. This would be a great Christmas gift. An original, hand-designed painting from you to yours. Just throwing out some ideas for you. You could hang it in your dining area right above your fruit bowl. as a reminder that you can always make lemonade from lemons. Yep, so again, we're just coming along this edge, and we're doing exactly what we did the first time around. We're just making it uneven. We're allowing our paintbrush just to dance all over the canvas, having fun with it. No rhyme, no reason. Just the fact that we want an uneven surface right here, just like that. Yes, indeed. We come up here, we finish this one. Oh yeah, let's bring him out there like that. Maybe bring him out there as so. Have him come out there and just dance all the way down the line there. Yes, indeed. There we go. I think we're ready for some dots. I think we're ready for some dots. Let's go ahead and dot this guy up. Let's clean our brush off so we can have a nice fine tip. Dry them off. Twist them. It's like a new sharpened pencil. Now we can just come across and put a million dots in here. Find all the empty spaces and just put dots, 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 dots. I'd be interested to know, is there a more creative way to put all these dots on this canvas instead of individually? I thought about trying it with like an Afro pick. I could probably get like 9 dots at a time. Would that take the fun out of it? I don't know. My back might thank me though. Plenty of dots. Again, stay away from patterns. Twist your brush around a little bit when you're making your dots. Try different angles. See what it gives you. Small dots, big dots. The harder you push, the bigger the dot will be. See how it works out for you. Get a couple of dots out there in the middle of nowhere for no reason, and then go back to your smaller ones. Try to get smaller ones in there. And just know you don't have to cover every dot that you did before. I think the variation in color looks kind of cool. You got some light dots, you got some super dark dots. Just let your mind be as creative as you want to. The dots are somewhat hypnotizing, folks. Feels like it's drawing me into the painting. Every once in a while you'll notice your brush becomes a little blunted because you're doing all of these dots. Feel free to dip it right back in that water, wring it out and twist it as you're bringing it out, and you'll have a nice sharp point again. Try to fill in all the little spaces. If there's a space where you don't see a dot, put one there. There you go. Almost there. Making our way up the second part of it. Almost there. Okay. All right. Okay, now we're going to make our way around this top portion. Again, we're just repeating the pattern that we started the first time around. Solidifying those black lines. All right. Coming across the top, there's dots there, drag it. Again, when you're doing this line, pressure, the amount of pressure that you're putting on your paintbrush makes a difference as to how your line is looking. You can put a dot, you can drag a line, press it, dot, press it, and create all kinds of random effects as you go around your lemon. Alright, and then you start that tip of your shadow. Kind of get that locked in again. There it is. Come on back around. And if we remember correctly, we used the big brush. We used the big brush for that shadow portion. So let's do that again. Just bring it on around. There it is. There we go. One big swoop and it's a done deal. Come back. And again, you're applying medium pressure so you have control over your brush. You bring it around and you just bring it right up to that line. Bring it right up to the line and you do the same thing coming back on the bottom. One big swoop. All right. So now we start working the pizza slices. Start working the pizza slices. Looks like we're gonna come back with our smaller brush. Rinse it off. Maybe give your black a little swirl. Keep it nice and juicy. You'll notice with acrylic paints dry a lot faster than most paints. So when you see what appears to be like clumpage in your little container, you want to just add a drop of water in there and spin that around. It'll moisten it right back up and it'll be like good as new. So now you're just coming across your lines again. All the black lines that you created, your pizza slices, you're just recreating your pizza slices and you're just walking right through that process again. There we go. So as I sit here and paint, I'm wondering, okay, what questions would a person who is doing this, what kind of question would a person have? And I would think, you say that there are no mistakes in painting. Why do you say that? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. I think there are no mistakes in paintings because you can literally, this is about layers. You can do layers and layers on these paintings. And there are actually folks that create paintings that work on them for years at a time. You can start a painting and just work it till you feel like you're done, and you put it away, and 6 months later you pull that painting out and see an area that you just like to enhance or reinforce. Like this painting, it's done when you say it's done, when you're satisfied with it. And if you don't like a certain aspect of it, you literally can just cover it up with another layer of paint, and you'd be surprised at the different mixtures that you get just in walking that process out. I think the key is just not giving up on it. Just never give up on yourself, Never give up on your ability. Never give up on your painting. It's just not the thing to do, folks. That was a good question. Thank you for asking me that question. Again, we're filling in our pizza slices. Just repeating the process from earlier. And I don't know about you, but I'm really liking the way this is coming out. I hope that you are liking the way yours is coming out as well. So James, what's the name of your small business? You said you started a small business doing some painting. Well, I'm glad you asked that question. So the name of my small business, my painting business, is called Smobbin 559. Smobbin 559. And the reason I named it that, a friend of mine and I came up with that name in San Luis Obispo. He took me there for my birthday one year because they have a really creative community there. So there's just a lot of artwork in that community. So we were sitting down in a coffee shop and we were trying to figure out how it is that we were going to create some images together and what we wanted to name our copulation. And we came up with Smobbin 559, and the reason for that is, so the word mobbin in and of itself, Mobbin, has everything to do with the way I was taught as I was being raised. Like, life is full of ups and downs and a whole lot of everything in between. But you just keep it moving. You keep pushing through. Like, again, I've worked for the probation department for 20 years. We've done tons of training on suicide identification and suicide prevention, and I know all those different aspects of it, but my personal experience has never been that I've met people that have just given up on life. I know a ton of people that are making their way through life, and it looks all kind of different ways, but my personal experience, and I'm thankful for that, is that I don't necessarily know anyone personally who's just simply given up on life. Everyone that I know is pushing through in some capacity. And that, to me, is the definition of mobbing. Like, it's going to look all kind of different ways, but you just keep it moving. So that's what the mobbing portion of it is. And the S, which is in front of mobbing, the S represents stuff. Some people call it sin. I call it stuff. And the one thing I've realized about stuff is that we all have it in some capacity. And my personal stance on it is, I'm not going to look at you and feel some kind of way because your stuff looks different than my stuff. Why? Because we all have it. We all have stuff that we're dealing with. So I think that we should be able to just get through life with our stuff without judging or being mean to each other or feeling some kind of way about each other, because the reality of it is we all have stuff. So when you put the S in front of mobbing, it simply means going through life with your stuff. And that's exactly what it is that I'm doing here. I'm just going through life with my stuff, trying to enjoy it, create some cool paintings, have a good time while I'm doing it. And that's what my artwork is all about. I think that with the thought process like that, with the mentality like that, we can do a lot of good by just creating lemonade from lemons. Makes sense to me. So that's what the name of my small business is. You can find me like on Instagram. My daughter is in charge of all of that good stuff. All things tech, she takes care of, because all I know how to do is text and paint. So, but yeah, I have a Instagram art page. I have a Facebook art page. All of them are entitled Smobin559. Obviously, the area code is for our Central Valley, 559. But you feel free to jump on there and look at some of the things that I've created. Say hello. I love to talk, obviously. You can hit me up for personal commissions, or if you wanted to just have a paint night, or if you had a question. I'd love to communicate with you, so feel free to look me up. And follow me too, because I'm trying to get like 1,000 followers. I'm nowhere near that yet, but at some point I will be. So again, I hope that you guys are, how's it coming along? I wish I could see yours. I wish I could see some of the expressions on your face. I hope you guys are really enjoying this, because I am. I have a feeling that yours are coming out just as smooth as mine. I'm having fun with mine. I hope you're having fun with yours. This is a very interesting process. I've created things in a lot of different capacities, but I don't know that I've ever had to talk the whole way through. Like, this is a special challenge for me. I have a lot more respect for Bob Ross. Makes me want to grow hair. Bob Ross is the man. How he did this, the way he did this, is just amazing to me now. Funny how things like that work out. He just, yeah, I have a lot more respect for that guy now. I always knew he was a great artist, but this aspect of it is just amazing. Alright, so it looks like we have just a few more to go. We're coming down to the end of this thing. I hope you guys are ready to put your signature on this bad boy, because all artists have to sign your paintings. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. And you should be excited, especially if this is your first painting. If this is your first painting, reach out to me and let me know. I'd be curious to know, was this your first paint night experience? And I'd love to know what you thought of it. I'm open to critiques. Let me know how this went for you, because I literally want to get better and better at this. You never know, there might be another event while I'm hosting a paint night. We may be making apple juice out of apples. That's artist humor. Bear with me, dadgummit. Banana bread out of bananas. Am I getting delirious, or am I just having way too much fun? That's for me to know and you to find out. Yes, indeed. We are just about done. These pizza slices, these sales are looking good. I'm feeling good about it. I think this may have been a success. I think so. Almost there, almost there. I'm curious to know, is it taking you as long as it's taking me to repaint these? You have the ability to pause. I just wonder. Yep, I'm starting to see the bottom of the glass. I don't know who measured out the paint, but they are spot on. I think we literally will have just enough to finish this. Let me add some more water to it. Mix it up, get it nice, and there we go. Oh yeah, that's what I was looking for. Let's see here. bring it out there. Pizza slice, there it goes. Bring it. And just know you can continue to play with this painting. Just because the session is done doesn't mean it's done. You could literally come back with your fine brush with your yellow and cover up any smudges that you see. That's completely up to you. You can add some color to the yellow to make it pop. They sell fluorescent yellows. You can make it a fluorescent lemon if you want it to. That choice is completely yours. You have all kinds of options with that. Absolutely do. The only stipulation is that you have fun with it when you're doing it. Just make sure you're enjoying yourself and you have fun with it. Yes, indeed. This is our last little pizza slice. Looks like our time here is coming to an end. Again, I hope that you are really enjoying this time together. I did. I would love to hear from you all, and maybe we can connect in some capacity again. Yes, indeed. Our lemon is really looking like a pop art lemon. I think we're just about there. But as I look over, I notice on these here, I've thrown a yellow shadow behind the other shadow. And understand this, that's completely optional. You have a chance to look at it without it, and you can look at it with it. But I think I'm going to go around it and throw those on here too, just in case you wanted it. So we're going to clean off our brush. We're going to grab our yellow paint. And since I have my yellow paint, I'm going to utilize this time to touch up any smudges I may have had during the process. I see some up here, so I'm just going to come across this and just put one more layer of yellow on top of that. Yep, just come across that and just lightly brush it. It helps that transition from the lemon to the blue. Yep, and you can come out and just blend that right on in. Any pencil marks you may see. And yellow is such a light color that sometimes you have to put more than one layer. So don't feel bad about that. You can put a layer on there and let it set up. Let it dry and come back and put another layer. And every time that you come back and put more yellow on it, it's just going to get yellower. Yeah, yellower. So we're just coming around that edge. We're touching up any of those white lines we see there. And then we're going to try to cast this shadow. We're going to have to just bring it right on down there. You're coming right next to the line. Right next to the line. You bring it right into it. You start it like that, then you just make it a little fatter. And the way you make that, you just give your apply a little more pressure to your brush, and it gives a wider stroke, and you just bring it right on up, just like that. There you go. Come right across there. Bring it right on up like the 5 o'clock shadow. There it is. Okay, and I think I want that one to come more from out of here, so I'm just gonna touch that up. There we go. I'm gonna do the same thing down here. I'll move my stool back a little bit, and we're gonna bring that yellow right underneath this lemon. Again, medium pressure. You're kind of staying away from the line
on your first pass because you're just kind of getting your outline going. You come right into the hump, load up with some more paint.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Repeat that.
Yep, you just come right from the top. Again, you want to just stay away from the line on your first pass. It's almost like a sketch, and then you just bring it right down into the nipple. There it is. Then you give it a little more pressure and push it all the way up to the line. Load up with some more paint and repeat the process. You just coming across, pushing it all the way up. Bring it right back down. And there you go. You've just literally created your 5 o'clock shadow. Lemon shadow, that is. There you go. And like I said, you totally have the option to any smudges, anything that you see in your yellow parts, any pieces that you want to make more yellow. Now's the time to do it. You can let it set for a little while, let it dry, and each time you come over and put another coat, it will literally get darker and darker. I see some little spots right here that I think I want to do. I'm just going to come across, make it come up to that line. Bring it on in. Bring it on in. Touch up with the yellow here, touch up with the yellow here. You let that dry and add another layer. Alright, so I think the last thing that we're going to do is add your signature right here in the bottom right hand corner. Pablo Picasso, Vincent Van Gogh. You can sign your name in any color that you want. Any color that you want. You will soon realize that signing your name with a paintbrush can be challenging. But you dip, and there we go. Mr. James Graham. There it is. So folks, I have really enjoyed this time with you. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have, and I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to seeing some of the pictures that you've painted. God bless, and we'll see you soon.